Cincinnati Crowd Crush. On December 3, 1979, the rock band The Who arrived in Cincinnati for a long-awaited concert at the Riverfront Coliseum. The key figures that night were Roger Daltrey and Pete Townshend, but also thousands of fans who had waited hours outside the arena. Among them were siblings Karen and Stephen Morrison, both eager teenagers who had saved for months to attend their first major show together. The gates, however, were still closed when the crowd began to swell dangerously. The show used festival-style seating. That meant no assigned places, only a rush to the best spot. As the evening grew colder, impatience rose like pressure inside a sealed pipe. People pushed forward slowly at first, then, with increasing force, each small movement magnifying into waves of pressure. Staff inside the venue were unaware of the true situation outside. They heard the noise, but believed it was routine excitement. Minutes before the band was scheduled to take the stage, the crowd mistook a sound check for the beginning of the concert. The push became violent. People screamed that they could not breathe, but the mass behind them did not hear or did not understand. Karen and Stephen were caught near the middle of the surge. He tried to shield his sister, but the pressure pinned them. Feet lost traction. Bodies folded unnaturally. Air disappeared. Only after several minutes did police manage to open additional doors. By the time the mass loosened, it was too late for many. 11 fans died, including Karen, and Stephen survived with crushing injuries and deep trauma. Inside, The Who performed without knowing what had happened. When Pete Townshend learned the truth after the show, he was devastated, describing it later as the darkest moment of his career. The tragedy forced venues across the United States to reconsider crowd control policies, marking one of the most painful lessons in concert history. Zurich fan fall. On May 17, 2015, the legendary band acdc performed at the Letzigrund Stadium in Zurich. The key figure that night was a 30-something Swiss fan named Markus Heller, an energetic longtime follower of the band. He arrived early, excited for a setlist he expected to include his favorite song, Thunderstruck. High above the main walkway stood a tall flagpole that many fans had climbed during past events, usually without consequence. As the stadium filled, the mood was electric. Markus, encouraged by friends and the surrounding cheers, decided to climb the mast and wave a large acdc flag. Security guards noticed him but were overwhelmed by the thousands streaming in. Markus climbed higher, gripping the metal pole with both hands, laughing as the crowd below urged him on. The concert began with explosive pyrotechnics and the distinctive opening chords that shook the stadium. In the commotion, Markus lost his stable footing. Several witnesses said they saw him slip as he tried to reposition his feet. For a moment, he swung sideways, his body twisting, his hands fighting to regain control. But the smooth surface of the pole offered no friction. He fell from a significant height, landing on a hard walkway. The music continued, drowning out the screams of those who saw the impact. Emergency services rushed to him within seconds, but he had suffered catastrophic trauma. Markus died shortly after arriving at the hospital. The tragedy overshadowed the night and triggered a new wave of safety protocols at European stadiums. Barriers and staff positions were later adjusted to prevent fans from reaching dangerous structures during high-energy concerts. The station fire. On February 20, 2003, the rock band Greatwhite prepared for a performance at the Station nightclub in West Warwick, Rhode Island. The band members, including singer Jack Russell, were familiar faces in the region. Among the excited attendees were Jeff and Donna Rader, celebrating Donna's birthday with a night out. The venue held just over 400 people, but it was small and built with materials that were far from fire-resistant. As the show opened, the band's tour manager ignited indoor pyrotechnic displays. The sparks shot upward in bright golden arcs. For the first seconds, it looked spectacular. But behind the stage, polyurethane foam used for soundproofing caught fire almost instantly. The flames climbed with terrifying speed, turning into a vertical inferno. Most attendees did not understand what was happening. Some thought it was part of the show. Within less than a minute, choking black smoke filled the room. The lights dimmed. People coughed and stumbled, their eyes burning. Jeff grabbed Donna's hand, guiding her toward the exit, but hundreds were doing the same. The front door, the main exit for the club, became a funnel for panic. Heat surged across the ceiling, forming a rolling cloud of poisonous smoke. People collapsed where they stood. Some reached the door, only to be caught in a crush of bodies piling up, unable to move forward or backward. Jeff managed to push Donna through a small opening between two people, but a sudden surge pressed him backward. She tried to hold on, but the force separated them. Donna survived with burns and lung damage. Jeff never made it out. 100 people died that night, making it one of the deadliest concert-related fires in American history. The event reshaped national fire codes and left a permanent scar on the live music community. Hip-hop concert shooting. On October 19, 2024, Langston University in Oklahoma hosted a hip-hop homecoming concert meant to celebrate the school's biggest weekend of the year. The key figures were students, performers, and attendees like 19-year-old sophomore Maya Lewis. She planned to meet friends, dance, and enjoy the music before midterm stress returned. The venue, an outdoor area near the student center, filled quickly. Security officers monitored the gates, but students moved freely between sections. Conversations, laughter, and beats from the DJ created a warm, late-night atmosphere. Maya texted her roommate that the crowd felt safe and fun. Around midnight, a confrontation developed near the edge of the crowd. Two individuals began shouting. At first, people assumed it was a normal argument, but the tone sharpened. Someone shoved another. Then another person approached, and the situation escalated rapidly. A gun appeared. Many attendees did not notice until the first shots cracked through the air. Panic erupted. Maya heard the gunfire and dropped to the ground as people screamed and scattered in every direction. The music stopped instantly. Students fell or tripped as they tried to flee. The confusion was overwhelming, and visibility was low because of stage lights and shadows. When officers reached the scene, they found multiple victims, including two critically injured students. One died shortly after being transported to the hospital. The suspect ran into the night, leading to an intense manhunt that lasted days. The tragedy shocked the campus and brought national attention to security at university events. What was meant to be a joyful night became a reminder of how quickly violence can shatter a community. Fatal stage fall. On June 24, 2015, Brazilian singer Cristiano Araújo performed at a concert in the state of Goiás. Cristiano and his girlfriend, Alana Moraes, were beloved public figures. Fans adored his voice and warm stage presence. That night he was especially energetic, dancing near the edge of a large elevated platform that extended toward the audience. During one of his upbeat songs, Cristiano stepped backward without looking. The lighting behind him shifted, and a small, unguarded gap became invisible. He misjudged his position and lost his balance. Witnesses saw him tumble off the edge, dropping several meters and striking the ground with tremendous force. The band stopped playing instantly, rushing to his side. Medical staff treated him urgently, and he was transported to a nearby hospital. His injuries were severe, including internal trauma that required immediate intervention. His girlfriend Alana, who had accompanied him that night, was also critically injured. Despite the hospital's efforts, Cristiano died shortly after emergency surgery. Alana died as well, compounding the grief across the country. Brazil entered a period of mourning. Fans gathered outside concert venues, lighting candles and leaving messages of love. The accident forced a national discussion about stage design, edge protection, and performer safety. Cristiano's death remains one of the most heartbreaking losses in modern Latin music. Overcrowded entry chaos. On July 3, 2023, Iron Maiden performed in England during the final leg of their tour. Frontman Bruce Dickinson and the band were returning heroes to thousands of British fans. Among them were friends Liam Cooper and Aisha Patel, both lifelong followers excited to see the group live for the first time. The issue began not inside the venue, but outside the gates. A bottleneck formed when digital ticket scanners malfunctioned. As more people arrived, the entrance area became tightly packed. Liam and Aisha found themselves trapped between metal barriers and a wave of fans who continued pushing forward unknowingly. Security attempted to reorganize the lines, but communication failed. For nearly an hour, pressure built. People shouted that they needed space. Some climbed barriers trying to escape the crush. Eventually, the lines moved again, but the damage was done. Several fans collapsed during the worst moments. Aisha fainted from lack of oxygen before the crowd finally loosened, and Liam pulled her to safety. Paramedics treated more than a dozen people. Thankfully, no one died, but the injuries and near misses were serious enough to make national news. The band publicly demanded an investigation, and organizers later apologized for the dangerous mismanagement. This incident reinforced that entry points can be just as hazardous as the concert itself. Colectivclubfire. On October 30, 2015, the metal band Goodbye to Gravity performed at the Colectiv Club in Bucharest, Romania. The band members, including lead singer Andrei Galutz, were celebrating the release of a new album. Fans like 23-year-old Elena Pop were excited to attend a small but intense show. The venue, however, had only one main exit and was lined with highly flammable foam. As the band played, indoor fireworks were set off. The sparks ignited the foam almost instantly. Flames shot upwards, spreading across the ceiling. At first, the crowd cheered, believing the fire was part of a dramatic effect, but the heat surged rapidly, turning excitement into fear. Smoke filled the room within seconds. People ran for the exit, but the doorway became overwhelmed as hundreds tried to escape simultaneously. Elena was near the middle of the room and crawled to stay below the smoke. She reached the door but became trapped behind bodies piling up. The fire behind them grew louder, like a roaring furnace. She lost consciousness as rescuers forced their way inside, pulling survivors out through shattered windows and broken walls. Elena survived after weeks in intensive care. 64 others died, including several band members. The disaster triggered massive protests across Romania and led to the resignation of the national government. It remains one of the deadliest concert tragedies of the 21st century.